Welcome back, everybody, to Little Monsters Comic Pop Deep Dive.
Glad to be here.
You're hanging with Justin Jake, that's me.
And Mary Dunce.
Our Marvel, well, you're like our Marvel expert.
I guess you could say that, yeah.
And today, we've got the listener sent in a stack of articles.
A big stack.
A big stack of upcoming Marvel movies, so we are deep diving into this today.
Yeah, they sent us a whole bunch of stuff about Phase 6 of the MCU. Buckle up. It's going to be a wild ride.
Hold on. Okay. Phase 6.
Yeah.
For those of us who are like not
Who haven't been tracking me?
meticulously tracking every single release, like what does that even mean?
So think of it like a giant comic book series, right? Each phase is like a collection of movies and shows, and they tell this bigger overarching story.
Okay.
We're in Phase 6 right now. It kicked off last year, and it goes all the way through 2027.
So we're basically getting a sneak peek into the next few years of Marvel movies.
Pretty much.
All right, let's dive in. What's first?
Well, the timeline you sent in is fascinating. It lays out all the confirmed release dates, and there are some really, really interesting choices in there.
Okay.
For example, Captain America. Brave New World. It's coming out on Valentine's Day 2025.
A superhero movie.
On Valentine's Day.
On Valentine's Day.
Interesting choice.
Are they going for like a rom-com vibe, or is it
Could be.
just to like stand out from all the other like...
I think it's a little bit of both.
Okay.
You know, Marvel loves to experiment with different genres, so a superhero love story, I don't think it's out of the question.
Okay.
But dropping a Captain America movie on a day that's all about love and relationships, I mean, that's definitely a way to subvert expectations, you know?
Yeah, it's definitely going to create some buzz.
For sure.
Okay, so a Valentine's Day superhero movie. What else we got?
Well, get this. We have 2 Avengers movies back to back.
Whoa.
Avengers. Doomsday is slated for May 2026.
Okay.
And Avengers. Secret Wars hit screens the following year.
Back-to-back Avengers movies.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, that's a pretty big deal. What can you tell us about them? Like, what do we know?
Well, the titles alone are pretty significant.
Yeah.
I mean, Doomsday and Secret Wars in the comics, those are huge events.
Right.
They're associated with like massive universe-altering events.
Oh, wow.
So it's safe to say, I mean, these movies are going to be game changers for the MCU.
Okay, now we're talking like world-ending threats.
Potentially.
Multiversal chaos.
Yeah.
This is the kind of stuff that gets me hyped for a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
What about the cast? Any juicy details there?
Oh, tons. Let's start with the biggest bombshell.
Okay.
Robert Downey Jr. is back.
Oh, wait. RDJ is back?
He's back.
As Iron Man?
Not as Iron Man. He's coming back as Dr. Doom.
Whoa. Okay, that's a twist I did not see coming.
Big twist.
RDJ as Dr. Doom. What are the implications?
I mean, it's huge, right?
Yeah.
Think about it. We've only ever seen Dr. Doom portrayed as a straight-up villain.
All right.
But with RDJ, I mean, you know, the guy's charisma.
He's got the charm.
And his ability to play these complex characters, we could be looking at a very different, a more sympathetic Dr. Doom.
That's a really good point. It'd be a bold move for Marvel to kind of give us this, like, more nuanced Dr. Doom.
It would be.
Okay. My mind is officially blown. RDJ as a potentially reformed Dr. Doom. I am here for that. What else do we have? What other casting surprises?
Well, how about this? Chris Evans is making a comeback, too.
Chris Evans. Seriously. Captain America is back in action. I thought he was done.
He did hang up the shield, but that doesn't mean he's done with the MCU entirely. We already saw him make a brief cameo as Johnny Storm, a.k.a. the Human Torch, in Deadpool and Wolverine earlier this year.
Hold on. Deadpool and Wolverine? I think I missed that one.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
So Deadpool and Wolverine, they're officially part of the MCU now.
Okay.
And this movie was their big team-up debut. It was hilarious, action-packed, R-rated. I mean, fans went crazy for it.
Okay.
And Chris Evans' cameo was a total surprise.
Right.
Just a quick appearance as Johnny Storm, but it definitely got people talking.
So he played the Human Torch again, even though he was Captain America for so long.
Yeah.
Does that mean anything? Like, for his future in the MCU?
It's hard to say for sure.
Okay.
But the fact that they brought him back, even for a cameo, I think it suggests they're not afraid to play with his past roles. And the rumors are swirling that he'll have a role in Avengers. Doomsday, although who he'll play is still a mystery.
Ooh, a mystery role in Avengers. Doomsday. That is going to send the internet into a frenzy.
Oh, yeah. The speculation is going to be off the charts.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, it just speaks to the level of excitement surrounding these upcoming movies. We're talking about the return of iconic actors, potentially huge shifts in the MCU's direction. and storylines that could change everything we thought we knew about these characters.
This is already shaping up to be a game changer for the MCU.
Absolutely.
And we haven't even gotten to Pedro Pascal as Mr. Fantastic yet.
Oh, right.
Or the Thunderbolts with Harrison Ford.
There's so much to unpack. I'm excited to dive into it all with you.
Me too. But before we get lost in a sea of speculation, let's take a quick break. We'll be right back with more from our deep dive into the future of the MCU.
Okay, so where were we?
Oh, right. Pedro Pascal as Mr. Fantastic.
Yes.
I'm pretty stoked about that.
Me too. I think Pascal is, his popularity right now is incredible, and he's got so much charisma.
Yeah.
And, he can bring depth and humor to his roles, and I think he's going to be perfect as Reed Richards.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be great.
And the rest of the Fantastic Four, we know that the first movie in their reboot, Fantastic Four, First Steps, that came out last year.
It did, yeah.
But they're also slated to appear in Avengers, Doomsday.
Right, and that's what makes it so interesting. How are they going to fit into this massive Avengers storyline?
Great.
Are they going to be fully integrated into the team, or are they going to have their own separate thing going on?
So many questions.
Yeah.
It's all part of the fun, though.
Oh, for sure.
Speculating about how these characters are going to interact and what their roles will be in this, epic showdown.
Exactly. Speaking of epic showdowns, we can't forget about the Thunderbolts.
Yes.
This team of anti-heroes is set to hit screens in May 2025.
Okay.
And they're led by Harrison Ford as Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross.
Harrison Ford leading a team of anti-heroes.
I know, right?
I'm there. Sign me up. Okay, what I find really interesting is that there's an asterisk in the title.
Oh, yeah.
Thunderbolts. Any theories on what that could mean?
Well, in the comics, the Thunderbolts have a pretty complicated history.
Right.
They've been heroes, villains, government agents, you name it, they've been it.
Okay.
So I think that asterisk could be a clue about their allegiances in this movie.
So they might not be the straightforward heroes that we're expecting.
Exactly.
Maybe they're working for some secret organization, or they have their own agenda entirely.
It's possible. And that kind of ties into this bigger question that one of the sources brought up, this idea of superhero fatigue.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. With so many superhero movies and shows coming out all the time, is there a risk that are people going to get tired of it?
It's a valid concern. You can only have so many superhero movies, right?
Right.
But I think Marvel is aware of this, and they're taking steps to avoid it. They're exploring different genres and tones, like we saw with Deadpool and Wolverine.
Right.
And they're pacing the releases more carefully. It's not just about quantity, it's about quality.
Yeah.
And
it seems like they're also, leaning into nostalgia a bit, bringing back familiar faces like RDJ, Chris Evans, but in these new and unexpected ways.
Right.
It's they're acknowledging the past, but also, forging this new path forward.
Exactly. And that brings us to another major development.
Right.
The X-Men are finally coming to the MCU.
Yes, the X-Men. It's about time.
I know, right.
How do you think they'll be introduced?
Well, the multiverse is wide open now, thanks to movies like Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, right?
No.
So that gives Marvel a lot of flexibility. They could introduce the X-Men from a different dimension.
Okay.
They could even do a soft reboot and just kind of integrate them into the existing MCU timeline.
A multiverse crossover would be epic. Imagine, X-Men teaming up with the Avengers. Come on.
The possibilities are endless.
The possibilities are endless.
And it wouldn't be the first time that Marvel has, brought characters from different corners of the universe together.
Right.
But, how they choose to integrate the X-Men, that's a big decision. It's going to have a huge impact on the future of the MCU. It's a big responsibility.
It is.
But you know what? I think Marvel will handle it with care.
I think so, too. They've earned our trust, I think. Okay, so we've got the Fantastic Four, the Thunderbolts, the X-Men. Who else is on the horizon for Phase 6?
Oh, well, we can't forget about Tom Holland's Spider-Man.
Oh, that's right.
A fourth movie is in development, and it's slated for release sometime in 2026.
Interesting. No specific date yet, though, huh?
Not yet.
What do you make of that?
I think maybe they're still figuring out where his story fits into the bigger picture. With all these other characters and storylines coming into play, they need to make sure that Spider-Man's next adventure, it feels relevant.
Yeah.
And it's exciting. They don't want to just rush it.
I agree. Yeah, they don't want to rush it. I think that's a good sign that they're taking their time and really thinking about how to keep the MCU fresh and engaging.
Exactly. It's not just about churning out movies. It's about crafting a universe that's, cohesive and compelling.
Yeah.
And, that will continue to captivate audiences for years to come. And that takes, planning, consideration.
This has been an incredible deep dive so far. I mean,
It has.
we've covered a lot of ground.
A lot. Casting news, release dates, speculation about the future of the MCU.
I know. And we're not done yet. There's still so much to discuss. But we are going to have to leave it there for now.
Oh.
We'll be right back to wrap things up and leave you with some final thoughts to ponder. Okay, so we're back and ready to wrap up this
epic deep dive.
this epic deep dive into the future of the MCU.
That's yes.
So to recap,
What have we learned?
Phase 6 it's looking like a pivotal moment for the MCU.
Absolutely.
We've got this packed release schedule, returning stars like RDJ and Chris Evans. And of course, we can't forget about
The X-Men.
the X-Men finally making their way into the MCU.
They're coming.
And those back-to-back Avengers movies.
I know, 2026 and 2027.
Doomsday and Secret Wars.
Huge.
It's going to be massive.
Impressive, game-changing.
But with all this excitement and speculation, I also get this sense of like transition.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. A feeling of evolution. I mean, the MCU is clearly building towards something big, and these upcoming movies, they're setting the stage for a whole new era.
Yeah. It's like they're acknowledging the legacy of everything that came before, the Infinity Saga and all that. But at the same time, they're forging this new path forward.
For sure.
New characters, new themes, and potentially even like reshaping the very fabric of the MCU.
And that raises a fascinating question for our listeners. With so many familiar faces coming back that in these new roles, are these movies going to feel like a brand new chapter, or are we going to see a nostalgic return to the MCU's roots? What do you think?
That's a really good question. It's like they're blending the old and the new.
Right.
Creating this tapestry of interconnected stories that span like multiple generations of heroes and villains.
And I think that's what makes the MCU so compelling. It's this constantly evolving universe that still manages to honor its past while embracing the future.
Yeah, I totally agree. Well, there you have it, folks. Phase 6 of the MCU is going to be wild, full of surprises, epic battles, and maybe even some game-changing moments. We are so excited to see how it all unfolds.
Me too. The future of the MCU is looking bright.
Yes, it is. Thanks for joining us on this incredible journey.
Always a pleasure.
Until next time, true believers, keep those comic book pages turning.